Hello and welcome to another episode of Hornets Daily, your one-stop shop for all things Charlotte Hornets. As always, we're presented by the good people over at FanArc, and I'm your host, Vance Ballard, but you already know you can call me VB. I want to thank everybody for joining us out there today, watching along with us. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, leave a like and a comment down in the comments section. It's getting time to really do some interacting, hear your thoughts on what the Hornets product is looking like out on the court as we continue to grow and build this Hornets Daily family here on the program. Training camp day 1 is in the books. We've got some things on the docket for today. We're going to start by talking a little bit about day 1 of training camp. Brandon Miller had a good day. He got a lot of praise, a lot of love from all over the organization. We'll tell you a little bit about that. We're going to talk about Con Knippel's first day of training camp and then wrap the program up with some Sunday expectations. What should we be expecting to see from the Hornets in their first preseason game on Sunday? We'll talk about that, what I think is going to be the most important thing to take away from that game. I'll let you know that at the end of the program today. But we do not beat around the bush here on Hornets Daily. We like to dive head first right into the program, and that's exactly what we're going to do once again here today. Now, the first day of training camp, as I mentioned, is officially in the books, and while it is not a whole lot that we've seen, we have seen some footage, some clips, some of the action that took place yesterday at training camp for the Hornets. Now, in just a 35-second clip that was tweeted out by the Hornets official page, we saw the embodiment of most, if not all, of the talking points, all of the buzzwords, all of the mantras or mottos, whatever you want to call them, all of the things that the front office, that Charles Lee, Jeff Peterson were echoing throughout the summer were embodied in just a 35-second clip that was tweeted out. We saw the young guys hard at work. We saw the high energy of Colin Sexton and him getting the team going, making everyone play at that next level that LaMelo Ball was talking about. We saw the competitive nature of practice itself, an emphasis on shot making, and more importantly, conditioning, which we have heard Charles Lee and Jeff Peterson rant and rave about all summer as well. Now, obviously, this was a very selective 35-second clip, very well edited by the Hornets media team, but it did still get the juices flowing, and again, it embodied all of the things that we talked about all summer. It shows that the Hornets are not just saying those things, they are actually putting them to work. They're actually trying to implement them in their plan, in their season goals, and going forwards this year. It's nice to see that everybody's on the same page. They are actually buying into the talks. They're buying into the mantras. They're buying into this Hornets DNA and this rebuild that this team and culture change that this team is trying to undergo and continue to do going forwards. Charles Lee spoke after practice. Of course, he spoke about how pace was going to be a priority. That's something we've mentioned several times on the show, something we talked about yesterday, actually. Charles Lee just reiterated the importance of pace and how it was going to be a focal point for the Hornets, not just in training camp, but throughout the rest of the season as well. As we know, him and LaMelo have both sat down with the media and discussed that the Hornets need to be a faster team. They need to play with more pace. They need more possessions, and to be and to change their style to becoming a little more up-tempo. Now, obviously, that's been hindered the last couple years due to injury concerns. We've talked about it several times. The Hornets were the 23rd team in the league in terms of pace last year. They also had the third highest turnover rate in terms of possessions that ended in a turnover. So those two things need to be alleviated. They need to be fixed, but health is going to be important when it comes to, especially when it comes to the pace and playing a more up-tempo style. Not only health, but the depth that the Hornets have added is going to go a long ways in helping them pick up the pace, add some more possessions, and score more efficiently. Honestly, that, again, things that Charles Lee hit on in his talks after practice yesterday. He said that they can move. He also said that playing with the pass was going to be a major priority. He said they can move the ball faster up the court with the pass than they can with the dribble, but it's going to be a matter of trusting everyone on the court goes back to what he said at Media Day about making everyone a threat on the court. It's going to be about trusting the team, trusting the guys around LaMelo, around Colin Sexton, around Trey Mann, whoever it is at the time that is bringing the ball up is going to have to trust them, trust their teammates around them to move the ball up the court a little bit with the pass. Play through the pass less than through the dribble is what Charles Lee was talking about yesterday. Again, that's going to be important. He went back to getting the ball in bounds a little quicker as well, whether it be off a made basket or change of possession, whatever that may be. He's focused hard on inbounding the ball quicker. Said that last year the Hornets just did not get the ball in bounds and move it up the floor fast enough. But that's something that has been a focal point in day one of training camp, has been in the last month that the team has been together working out, but again was reiterated by Charles Lee and his talks yesterday after practice. As to be expected, everyone came away from camp yesterday, the first day, excited, saying how great it was to be back on the floor playing basketball, back with the team working out, really getting after it. Everyone had high praise for everyone. The optimism, the talent in the gym was very highly praised, was very well talked about, again, as to be expected after the first day of training camp. But one guy in particular who may have been happier to be back on the court than everyone else around him was Brandon Miller. His exact quote, as a matter of fact, after practice yesterday was, "I think it's the most fun I've ever had all summer, just being back out here working hard with my guys." So Miller was not the only one happy that he was back on the court. It was, I'm sure, very relieving to be out there. No limitations, as we've mentioned, due to the wrist injury. He does have some tape. We saw him playing with that wrist tape yesterday, but no actual physical limitations. He's going at 100%. He's full contact, full go, and I know that's very relieving for a guy like Brandon Miller after missing as much time as he did, spending time away from the basketball court. But again, he was not the only one happy that he was back on the court. Raving about Brandon Miller was actually a major theme of training camp day one yesterday. Everyone seemed to have something complimentary to say, starting with Coach Charles Lee, who was extremely complimentary of Brandon Miller after practice, saying, quote, "I saw a little bit more alpha in him today than he did last year in training camp and in practice, and obviously up until Brandon Miller was injured." He said Charles Lee went on to talk about how there were many situations throughout the day yesterday where Brandon Miller's team were either down or up, and in a big pivotal moment, instead of shying away, Brandon Miller took the step forward. He took the leadership role. He took over and became a leader. Was quick to be the leader on his team in those pivotal situations. Lee said he took the ball in his hands in all the big moments and was more than willing to guard the best players all throughout the day. Lee also spoke about how time away from basketball may have been a good thing for Brandon. I know obviously you don't want a guy like that to miss any games. It hurts the team, but he said that Miller was able to find his voice a little bit and build stronger relationships with the guys around him off the court, not just on the court, but off the court as well, and it showed in a major way on day one. LaMelo also ranted and raved about having Brandon Miller back on the floor in his typical fashion. Not a lot of words, but was very complimentary. He said it was amazing to have Brandon Miller back on the court. He said that Miller can do it all, and he said when you have a guard that's, quote, 6'9", 6'10", now obviously Brandon Miller probably not quite that tall, but to LaMelo it may seem that way. He said when you have a guard that is that big, that can do it all, it is amazing to have, and amazing to see him back out on the court. As we know, Ball and Miller have not played a lot of games together, don't have the most experience on the court. Both of them have dealt with injuries since Miller has come to Charlotte, but that is hopefully going to change this season. Both guys coming into training camp fully healthy, looking to be full go and be on the floor together. And when they are, good things happen for the Hornets, as we know. It is a deadly two-person combo. You add Miles Bridges into that, a healthy Miles Bridges, maybe Colin Sexton, whoever the starter is going to be next to those guys, and now you start to add some serious offensive threats to this Hornets lineup. They can play with that pace. that Charles Lee and and everyone has been talking about. All three of the guys that I mentioned, Miles Bridges obviously not the best, but he is capable of handling the ball if he's got to at some point while he's looking for a guy to pass to. But we know Brandon Miller, LaMelo, Colin Sexton, all great with the ball in their hands, all very good vision, very good passers, so they can really buy into that, working through the pass, moving the ball up the court that way with some more pace. As with all of them being healthy, it'll be a very good thing for the Hornets to be able to continue to work on that improved offense and that new style of play that they want to work on this season. Now, the rookie with the most attention on the team also had some very good things to say about Brandon Miller. Con Knippel, during his after practice talks with the media, he was raving about Brandon Miller and his presence. He said, quote, "I thought he was awesome today." He went on to continue to compliment Miller's play in the second part of their game, some of those moments that Coach Charles Lee was talking about as well. He said Miller was helping everyone around him. He said he took over in the later parts of the games, and Miller was helping bring everyone along and help step their game up. Again, kind of that infectious thing we were talking about with Colin Sexton yesterday. When one guy's out there giving it his all, when one guy's out there playing at that next level, it inspires the rest of the team to kind of step their game up, to lift their energy level. And so Brandon Miller, as well as Colin Sexton, we saw in that video clip that I was talking about, both of those guys brought the energy today. And when you have experienced players, veterans, guys who are supposed to be leaders on the team playing at that next level, it's even better. It's even more helpful for the young guys, for the rest of the team to step up and kind of give their all in practice, especially on day one when the energy is already high. Now, we talked yesterday about Con and the rest of the team being together and working out for about a month now, so it's not exactly their first time together, first time on the court, not exactly their first runs up and down, but even Con himself said there was something special, something a little bit different about the first official day of camp, about the first day of practice. He said, quote, "You'll always remember that first practice," and that was taking place, of course, yesterday. That was Con's official quote. He also went on to talk about not being held back, not being limited, not being just out there on the court doing a quote-unquote workout. This one was an actual practice, so it was nice to get back to a little more regular feeling environment as well. Con said he enjoyed being out there just working hard with his guys, much like Brandon Miller did. And he was really excited about being able to really get after it, was the exact words he used. Something he kind of said yesterday at media, or the day before yesterday at media day as well. Again, just continuing to fuel that hyper-competitive narrative that he has, that hard-working, that gritty guy that Con Knippel is, that attitude and mindset that he hopes to bring to the team this season. Now, we've talked all summer, as you guys know, about the expectations surrounding the 4th overall pick and his attitude and his mindset that we were just talking about, as a matter of fact. But his attitude and his mindset after day one of camp reflect a guy who is capable of living up to and ready to accept all of those expectations, all of the hype around him, all of the pressure that comes with being the 4th overall pick, and the expectations of being a major part of this Hornets rebuild, a major part of this franchise going forwards. On the court yesterday, Con looked good as well, feeding off the high energy of the rest of the team, guys like Brandon Miller, Colin Sexton, Liam McNeely, Sion James. All of his counterparts were really high-energy guys. Yesterday, practice was very competitive, and Con Knippel had a good day. He does still, of course, as we know, have some of those rookie developing issues, or not issues, but rookie developmental steps still to take. We still have the questions about his defense, but he is working hard on that end of the floor. We also heard in media day that his athletic ability is a little bit sneakier than we originally thought. He's got the ability to rise up and dunk the basketball. Obviously, we knew he could dunk, but LaMelo said he was surprised by his dunking ability and the way he was able to throw the ball down. So maybe some of those questions about Con and his athletic ability are being answered, are being remedied during training camp, especially day one. But as we continue to work through training camp, it will only continue to show that Con is a little bit more sneaky athletic. He's a little bit more high-flying than maybe originally anticipated, and so that's going to help answer some of those developmental questions as well. Now, obviously, Con's going to play a major role this season, but also in the Hornets' future, in the rebuild of this franchise, so it's going to be important to get him off to the right start here in training camp. and that's going to be crucial to continue his development in the right direction. Make sure that a guy with the ceiling or with the floor as high as he already has, that's a big reason why he was drafted, is because of how high his floor is, how high his basketball IQ, and how NBA ready the majority of his game already is. It's going to be crucial to continue to develop that and not hinder that in any way, which I don't think the Hornets are going to do. Now, what we do want to see, part of Khan's development, we can see will start to unfold on Sunday when the Hornets take the floor for their first preseason game, and that's one way to get Khan started in the right direction, is having a good showing in the first preseason game. As we know, he had a good showing out in the Summer League in his first playing experience with the Hornets jersey on. He won the Summer League MVP, helping lead the team to the Summer League championship, as LaMelo called it, winning that little Summer League thing. But it was, again, nice to see Khan on the floor, how he's going to at least give us an example of how he's going to play, how he's going to adapt to the NBA game. Again, the Hornets had their first preseason game this Sunday against the NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder. It will be a true test to start the preseason, and we said that kind of when the game was announced. I said when it was announced that this is going to be a fantastic measuring stick for where the Hornets have gotten to in terms of their development throughout the summer. Now, obviously, we've said they've been together for quite a while now. This training camp practice, not the first time these guys are meeting, not the first time they're getting a chance to see how each other plays, to understand the style of games that they all run with, but it was the first official practice, and so now it will be a good test on Sunday, a good measuring stick for where the Hornets are at after this first week of training camp, as well as having had the summer to develop as well. Obviously, they'll have had limited time together in that official capacity, like I talked about, only having a few days here of training camp, but this game will show how well they mesh together, how important that past month of building relationships, building off the court rapport, working out together, putting that extra emphasis on conditioning, guys like LaMelo, and helping their body and getting themselves in better shape. It'll show how much that actually pays off, how warranted that was, how necessary it was, and how much, if the Hornets did it the right way, will start to be reflected anyway on Sunday. Now, I think one of the most important things to take away from this game, obviously, it's going to be a big test. I'm not exactly sure who all the Thunder are going to run out on the floor, but it is still going to say Thunder across the front of those jerseys, and it is going to be a big test playing against guys who were at least some guys who were just on the floor in the NBA Finals and will be celebrating a ring ceremony on their opening night of the season. So the most important thing, I think, one of to take away from this is going to be the rotation. I don't think it's not got to be a perfect display of basketball. It's not got to be a flawless game. The Hornets don't need to go out and win by 25 or 30 or anything like that. I don't think that's what anyone is expecting or anyone is looking for. But I do think it's going to be imperative that Charles Lee and the rest of his staff shows at least some understanding of what his best lineups are, who's the plug-and-play guys, who's going to fit best with who's going to play where, and who's going to start the best lineup to run out there first is also going to be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. Now, obviously, the center position is probably the most talked about. It's going to be one of the more important pieces to figure out who's going to fit where. How are those three guys that the Hornets have on the roster, Diabate, Plumlee, and Kalkbrenner, how are they going to fit into the rotation? When is going to be the best time to use them? How heavily used are they going to be? Who's going to be the guy to run out there first? All of those questions do linger about that position. But the other pieces on this Hornets roster and getting those right and having the best guys on the floor that match the other four around them style of game the best is also going to be an imperative thing. It's going to be very important to see. Again, it doesn't have to be. I don't expect it to be perfect on Sunday. I don't expect it to be the most flawless game, the most pretty style of play. But it would be nice to see if Charles Lee at least has some understanding, like he's gotten a bit of a head start on knowing who to put with whose game fits best with the rest of the guys around them, and really who's going to be those other two guys starting with Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, and Miles Bridges? Is it going to be Colin Sexton? Is it going to be Con Knippel? Is it going to be Musa, Mason Plumlee, or the surprise Ryan Kalkbrenner gets thrown out there in the starting lineup? Now, as I've talked about several times, I think Colin Sexton is going to be better fitted to start on opening night, and I do think Musa will run out there at the center position, but it will be nice to see at least some understanding from Charles Lee about what his rotations should look like. If for some reason the Hornets come out and look lost, however, and the lineups don't mesh, it looks like they've never been on the court together, no one understands where anyone is, the spacing is not what we expect it to be, the offense doesn't flow the way we want it to, that's not going to be a good sign. Obviously, the Hornets are going to have to get back to the drawing board, but I don't expect that to be the case. I really think the Charlotte's going to come out Sunday firing on all cylinders. The spacing is going to look much improved from last year. We're going to get, there's a lot of guys coming back. LaMelo's going to be healthy. Brandon Miller's going to be healthy. Trey Mann's going to be healthy. The rookies are going to be, the highly anticipated rookies are going to have their chance to show what they're going to be able to do going forward. So I'm very excited about Sunday's preseason games, but I think the most important thing to keep an eye on is going to be the rotation and the lineups and how Charles Lee fits all of these guys, this whole new rebuilt roster, how he fits it together, how it meshes on the court. That's going to be something to keep an eye on. That's going to do it for today's show, folks. As always, thanks so much for watching, joining along with us. If you haven't already, once again, please hit that subscribe button. Leave a like and a comment down in the comment section. What are you guys looking for out of Sunday's game? How do you feel after day one of the Hornets training camp? Are you still optimistic? Are you still hopeful going into this season like I am? We'll talk some more about it right here tomorrow on a brand new episode of Hornets Daily.